Welcome to the podcast about venture capital, where investors and founders alike can learn how VCs make decisions and reach conviction. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome back for another edition of Investor Stories. On this special segment, the experts describe the most important lesson that they've learned and how that has changed the way they invest. This is the special segment called Lessons Learned. On this special segment, we have Minnie Ingersoll of 10110. Minnie, can you tell us a story highlighting a critical lesson that has changed the way you invest?
Oh, critical lesson. So for me, I worked on a food stamps program. So helping people, it's digital interfaces for government. And I helped work on a project at Code for America that was helping people apply online for food stamps. And it turns out that in California, if you are in need of food stamps, the application, the government application doesn't really work on mobile and doesn't save state.
Wow.
And so it's a 30 to 45 minute application that doesn't really work on mobile, doesn't save state. And it's, when someone says like, I'm a mother and I can't feed my children, it is really heartbreaking when you hear those stories. And then when the woman says like, I'm a mother, I can't feed my children because I can't figure out how the website works, you think, wow, that's a problem we should be able to solve. And so I think seeing the work, this is at Code for America, of seeing the work that Code for America is doing, but many people across our country are doing to help sort of bring government into the digital age and helping the bottom half of society just get access to basic sort of human needs. Really is motivating. Like you can't then think, oh, great, let's not try to solve some of these problems because they're too fundamental. I heard Robert Reich, former Secretary of Labor, speak, and he said, if we don't solve these problems, we're going to be building armored plates for our Teslas and living in a society we don't want to live in. And, it's not just for selfish reasons that I want to build a society that I want to live in, but I think it's incredibly motivating to have your eyes open to that and say, like, these are problems we need to solve.
On today's special segment, we have Oren Klaff of Intersection Capital. Oren, can you tell us a story highlighting a critical lesson that has changed the way you invest?
Critical lesson that changed the way I invest. I invested in a company and they were doing quite well, but they loved money, right? They viewed money as part of success. And they took a $18 million tranche at a $165 million valuation. The market valuation, the enterprise valuation is probably 85, 90 million. It really screwed the company because now we can't raise any institutional money at 165 million, because the deal is priced too high. If we can't take any venture money, we can't take any private equity money, we can take money from any, high net worth smart guys. So we can only raise money now from accredited or dumb investors. And so the lesson I learned there is guys who are too good at pitching, CEOs and entrepreneurs who are real salespeople, can get money at too high a valuation, and it stinks up the deal.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that too. These fundraising periods often happen in 12 to 18 month timeframes, and sometimes a founder is able to raise at a much higher price than maybe their progress suggests, and they jump at the money, but that implies that in 12 to 18 months, you better, double the business and double that valuation. Otherwise, you're in a down round or a flat round or a very tricky fundraise situation. We've seen that fairly frequently, and it's a common sort of first-time founder challenge.
Yeah, and so when you see a capital-raising founder that is spending all the time talking to money and not that much time executing and talking to customers, then it's a potential red flag.
On this special installment of Investor Stories, we have Jason Whitney of IU Ventures. Jason, can you tell us a story highlighting a critical lesson that has changed the way you invest?
Yeah, this one was really early on in my career in venture, and I was embedded on a team from the university. It was very early on, and they said, hey, go sit in on this team and don't leave them until you're able to figure out how to make an investment case for them. So I worked with this team heavily on creating their investment case, figuring out what their product was, doing their pitch deck for them. And then we went to our own investment committee. So I'm having my team pitch to my own investment committee and watching them get beat up over all their slides. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I really thought I did a good job on that. And it has really, the questions that they asked them in that session are now, my top 5 questions that I ask startups when I meet with them, because I don't want to see people get beat up the way my team got beat up. But it really helped me as an investor look at different areas of the business, all the way down to headcount growth that I was totally discounting before I sat in the hot seat, and allowing me to use those tools to help our coming in portfolio companies.
Interesting. Do you guys often get really hands-on with, prospective companies and help them with these things like the pitch deck and investment case?
That one was an outlier. That company had massive amounts of federal funding and a long-term, decade-long research project, and there was something there. So I definitely was way more embedded with that team than I would be with any other team, just for bandwidth issues. I do not have the time to do that. But we work with people, even companies that we aren't going to bring to our investment committee, people that we've become engaged with. We work with them on their pitch decks. I'm working with one right now that's not even in the United States, and I'm working on their pitch deck with them, just because we feel a higher burden of responsibility to the companies that have engaged with us, because we all share that common theme of being alumni of Indiana University. So we feel like we owe them something more than we normally would if we were a traditional investment firm.
On today's special segment, we have Nikhil Basu Trivedi. Nikhil, can you tell us a story highlighting a critical lesson that has changed the way you invest?
I think when I reflect on the companies that I've worked with that have done the best, so much of it is ultimately because of the founders and their ability to prioritize well, their ability to persevere through every obstacle thrown at them to get to the other side, their ability to hire high quality talent around them. And so the lessons that I've learned are probably most about people in this business. And I try to apply those lessons about founders who I've seen be successful and founders who I've seen fail to every new investment and how I evaluate the founders. And I hope that my bar has just continued to grow on evaluating founders, and my judgment's getting better there.
How do you do that? How have you improved the selection? How do you better get to conviction?
I honestly spend as much time as I can getting to know them, even if it's in a very short window. I try to be really transparent with them as to how I'm thinking about the investment opportunity. I try to simulate as much as I can the relationship that we're going to have once I've invested. And I just kind of try to look for signals and patterns that emerge during that short window of getting to know one another to make a decision on whether or not I think they could be the founder of a generational type business. I also do a lot of writing for myself to think through the decision, perhaps now more than ever. And so I have a bunch of different heuristics, and I actually talked about it in a post about the title of the post is Screenshot Memos. But within that post is a bunch of information on how I make investment decisions.
That will conclude this installment of Investor Stories. If you're enjoying the program and would like to see it continue, take a moment and leave a 5-star review in iTunes. Also, if you'd like updates on new content from TFR, as well as the top 10 VC articles every week, go to fullratchet.net and sign up for the newsletter. Okay, that will wrap things up for today. Until next time, over-prepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for joining me.